Good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday morning makes. Oh my goodness, did everybody have a good week? It is the weekend now, and we get to relax and hopefully have time to create some art. Or maybe you've had time during the evenings this week to create some art after work or after caring for your kids or dealing with whatever we're dealing with in life, in day-to-day life. I am coming on, of course, to share my Saturday morning makes and to welcome every single hashtag that's out there that helps to promote creating art, which is a wonderful hobby. It is a wonderful pastime to give our minds and souls a rest. And for me, creating art brings bliss. And as a single parent, I had lots of supplies, but I was never allowing myself time to create. And that is how I started Saturday Morning Makes. And right as I was starting it, COVID hit, and many people who live alone were isolated in their homes, and they were reaching out and commenting and saying things to me. And I just felt, oh my goodness, we should all be creating art. So I said to everybody, let's all do it. Everybody hashtag your stuff Satmorn Makes, and we'll all look at it on the weekends. So that's what we did during COVID. And many of us are still playing along all these years later. And I just have fun in this community. I'm so grateful for every single person that participates, however you participate, whether it's by watching, by commenting, by sharing your art, whether it's by video or photo, or however you choose to share it with other people. I'm just grateful that you're all here. Let's dive into episode 2 for 2026. And I am sharing my completed cards for a release from Dianna Marcum. Now, Dianna Marcum is a world-renowned artist. She designs products for Adorn It, and she doesn't just design stamps, which is what I use today, but she designs different embroidery kits and many different things. So she's had an incredible career, and I have been buying her stamps for many years. Back when she designed for Stamp Passions, I have fabric of hers, many different things that she's done, buttons. There's so many different products over the years. She did painting back in the day too. So she's just a wonderful artist. I love her art, and I'm so blessed to be able to share these with you today. So I want to dive in. First, I wanted to share some happy mail I received. I received this beautiful card. Look at this adorable penguin. Oh my goodness. It says, wishing you all the joys of this season. And this is from Veronica, who is VL Ballin1 here on YouTube. If you have not checked out Veronica's channel, you should. She participates in the Crack the Vault collabs with Poet Spice and the crew. And she does many wonderful projects, and her channel is full of inspiration. So you will love visiting her channel. She says, may the joy and peace of Christmas be with you now and throughout the new year. Jill, I hope you had a fabulous Christmas. Thank you for your continuing support, Veronica, via Albalin1. So, Veronica, thank you for this card. You brought such a smile to my face when I received this. And I just love this little penguin. He just makes me smile every time. Look at how he's all glittered up. Isn't that pretty? Oh my gosh, I just love it. So beautiful. So, and I love how she did heat embossing here. I should do more heat embossing. I don't do it enough. So thank you, Veronica, for the cards, and for everybody that's been sending me things. I need to come on and film some videos. I have packages from P. I received packages from Nancy May for my birthday, and just you guys are all too generous to me. So let me go ahead and really quickly show you what we're dealing with here. These again are the stamp sets from Dianna Marcum. Now I did show these on a video a couple videos back, so you can go and take a look. But this is the recipe stamp for this month, which is cream cheese mints. The add-on, which has this adorable Mrs. Claus bakery and this candy cane and various sentiments. There was this little stamp that says love you to the North Pole and back, and that was on special at one point. And then this beautiful 6x8 stamp set too. And in the video that I already did where I showcased these, I did stamp these all out and show them so that you could see how beautiful these images are. Look at, there's Mrs. Claus, there's Santa Claus, there's a bakery sign, and then this sweet but twisted, oh my gosh, you're a candy cane. So I just stamped a bunch of these out, and I just wanted you to be able to see all the images. There's the cream cheese mint Wonderful, wonderful. So, and I did use a lot of these little, I use these little hearts, the peppermint hearts, and these little floral pieces in various sizes on a lot of my cards. So in the previous video where I showed the stamp sets, I had already showed this card using the Love You to the North Pole in back snowman. Isn't he adorable? Oh my goodness. So if you post anything with snowmen, be sure to hashtag it For the Love of Snowmen. That's Nancy Mays and Anna White. They both showcase snowmen so beautifully, and so many of you participate, and I just love seeing all your snowmen projects. So some of the other things I used really quick, I used this A5 polymer stamp set from Lily of the Valley. They have gone all digital. You can get this set digitally, and I believe it comes on a single sheet and you print it out and then you can cut out the tags. It's called Christmas Image Tags, okay? And you can check with the Etsy shop at LOTV DigiShop if you're interested, and you can ask questions there. I used an embossing folder from Apple Blossom Designs. I used to get these on Craft Stash, but Craft Stash isn't there any longer. Apple Blossom Designs, I believe, is still in business, so you could go to their website there. But this is a beautiful embossing folder. I use that. And then I also use this one from Craft Concepts, which is also a candy cane embossing folder. And that's what I used on these two tags here. So one of them has the one with the bow, and the smaller one has just the one with the candy canes. So these are such cute images from Dianna Marcum. I just love them. And further along in the video today, I tried to film little snippets of each of the projects that I did here, so you could see a little bit behind the scenes. And I want to have you guys let me know if you like this style of video or not, if you prefer where I don't do it this way. But go ahead and watch the content that's behind what I'm showing you now. So this is a die that I used. It's die 933Z. Quilted frame. This is retired from Impression Obsession, is closed, but this is a die that Anna White designed that I just love. So I did use this. You might be able to find it still in some stores, but more than likely you'd have to find it on a resale site. I used this heart embossing folder from Cuttlebug, and that is the embossing that I did on this card right here. And I still want to add a little bit of diamond stickles to some of these hearts just to have the glitter pop out. But I love how this card turned out. I ended up tying a double bow, which I'm always inspired by Melissa Phillips. And I love the double bows that she ties. And I was trying to pull this card together, and I filmed part of it, but I was just going to glue down the lace. And when I was doing it, I thought, no, I'm going to tie it into a double bow, because I had just seen a card the other day that Melissa did. And it's been a while since I tied a bow. So I just thought that was really fun. And it kind of sets off the card beautifully. So this cream cheese mint card turned out so cute, you guys. I used the XOXO border dies from My Creative Time on the inside. You can see how the lace lays here. And then on the back, I have my Greenwood Girl card blog logo on the back of the card. So just so sweet. I love that cream cheese mint image. And I also used Emma's My Creative Time stitched rectangle dies and her XOXO border dies. So I love this die set. So that's used on a lot of the insides of my cards. On the tags, I explain about this die and how I used it 2 different ways to make the little loops at the tops of these tags. Okay, and then I also used this scallop, pretty scallop rectangles, and I used some trees from very old trees from a Tilda Magnolia die set. And I don't think you can get these anymore. I was looking for them for a friend of mine, Nancy, that wanted them, and I just can't find them anywhere, even on resale sites. But I do have them, and I like to use them, so I did use them on this card. And on this card, I really wanted Mrs. Claus to be standing out in front of the bakery offering gingerbread cookies to all the passersby. So I created a little scene card. It does cover up part of the bakery, the door with the wreath and everything, but I still think it looks cute. And I just wanted her to be in front of her bakery. So I hope you guys like how this one turned out. And inside I put Santa Claus and then candy cane wishes and mistletoe kisses. And I haven't decorated the back of this card yet. And then I really love how this card turned out. So this is that frame from Anna White. Oh, I think I have a scrap piece of paper I trimmed off on there. This frame die is the one from Anna White, and I used a stitched a ticking stripe paper in green in the center for the oval. And I love the beautiful detail of that die set with all of the stitching. Isn't that beautiful? And then this is a paper from Irala shop. And this is that wonderful cupcake that Dianna drew. And then I used the little heart peppermints and the little florals to create little petit fours. And I cut a little rectangle petit four also to go with the heart petit fours. So it's a cupcake and petit fours. And petit fours, if you don't know what they are little frosted cakes that are served at tea time. And I was going to try and fit a teacup on here, but I would have had to make a bigger card and probably do the layout differently, like, the horizontal instead of vertical. And I'd already done everything else. So I decided to just do the petit fours and the cupcake. And this is going to be used as a birthday card. So I used this little birthday image, and this is a digital from Irala shop. And I do show the digital later in the video. You'll see it. Do I have it here to show you? Yeah, it looks like this. It's a page of cards, flashcards, if you will. And I talk about this card being for Deck the Year. And in Deck the Year, you can use flashcards. And new this year for Deck the Year, you can do cards and lots of other types of formats to count for the hashtag Deck the Year. So I'm entering this card into Deck the Year because it uses a flashcard and it is a card. And I know you can also do the Rolodex cards, the memory decks cards this year also. So Deck the Year is a lot of fun, and you could go check out Teresa's channel. Who else? And Don H Creates. They both do Deck the Year. And I'll try and put the information down below for Deck the Year and the host, which I think is Penny. I can't think of the channel name right now. But anyway, this card turned out so cute. I love this cupcake image. And I think these little hearts turn out so cute when you add the little rosebud or berry cluster to it. So I just thought that turned out really sweet. Inside it says, make a wish. So a really sweet birthday card. Here's another one of those hearts with the little berry on it. And I just used a strip of that paper and the XOXO border dies. I've got to erase some black marks that are on there. And then on the back, I just centered this little rose in the XOXO border dies smallest frame to just decorate the back of the card a little bit. So these are all my projects for today. I love these sets from Dianna Marcum, these beautiful stamps. I love how this cream cheese mints card turned out with a double bow. And these sweet little candy cane tags are just precious. So I hope you enjoy seeing all these projects. Again, if you watch the rest of the video, you'll see content on how I created them. You certainly do not need to watch it right now, but some of you that I know have asked me to see more of how I make my cards, that's what you're going to see. And I'm just experimenting a little with making content for you guys. So give me feedback if you want me to do something different. Or if you enjoy this, just let me know. And for those of you that want shorter videos, you can just watch the beginning and then take off. So I know some of you like the long content and others complain that the videos are too long. So I'm just trying to meet everybody's needs. And I appreciate each and every one of you for coming and sharing art with me here at Greenwood Girl Cards on my YouTube channel and over on Instagram and Facebook too. So everybody have a great weekend. I can't wait to come out and see what you've been creating. All right. Happy Saturday morning makes, and happy crafting this weekend with all of these wonderful hashtags and this community. And I will put Two Crafters, One Designs themes for this week down in the drop-down menu. All right, everybody, take good care. Bye now. Hi, everyone. It's Jill with Greenwood Girl Cards. It's Friday night, and my day got away from me today. It's already 7 o'clock at night, right around there. And so I am just getting started on some projects for Saturday morning makes. And I thought I would just turn on the camera and kind of share what I'm doing in case I don't have time to finish all of my projects tomorrow. There's a lot going on. So I started by cutting out the images early this morning. I cut out a bunch of the images that I had colored for Dianna Marcum. And this is that beautiful set of candy canes with the bow. And then this one is the little candy cane image in the jar. And so these are all cut out. I still need to add some little edging to get rid of some of the white cut marks on these. And one of the ways that I like to do it is to just take some tea dye distress ink and go around the edges of an image after I've cut it. And I also took my red marker and I just darkened up. You can see a white space right there. So what I do is I just take the red marker, and any place you see white on the edges, I just use my Copic marker to color that in so that it blends. So you can definitely take a black marker if you want and go around in black. And if you're going to do that, I recommend a Memento dual-ended marker. And you can get a brush nib like this, or even a smaller nib, depending on what your preference is. But you want to do it from the front edge, believe it or not. So you look where you see the white, and you just take this little brush end, and you're just going to run it around any place where you see white, okay? And that will darken up those white edges. You could also take whatever color you colored with, like pink, and you can use that. But a lot of times, if it's a lighter color, it's not going to take away the white edge. So it helps to have either a black or brown Memento marker that you can go around and just darken any white edges where you have placed cut lines from cutting out the image. So that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm either using my red marker, a pink marker, or this black Memento marker. And so you can still see some white right here. So I'll just use this black marker to get rid of that white edge. And then you can, again, also touch up with your colored markers anywhere that you think it needs it. So you can also use a graphite pencil to add detail if you want, especially where there's places where you think it should be dark. You can also use pencil. So I'm just touching up these images, getting them ready to go on the tags. And I'm playing around with what I want to do. I did color some white cardstock very lightly with Copic marker, and then I did some flicking to get those little red dots that you see in the background. And I wanted it to pick up on the pink and red of these candy canes. And then I cut some die cuts from dies from My Creative Time. These are her pretty scallop rectangle dies and her rectangle stitch dies. And I just made a little tag. And then I'm thinking about using this candy cane tag on this one. And then I'm thinking about adding, this is a stamp set from Lily of the Valley. And this is a Christmas image tag set. I had mentioned that I would love them to do an updated icon image Christmas set. And they came out with this one, which I just love. And this one has a little candy cane tag here. And it also has these candy cane 5 pence or 5 cents. And so I was thinking I would stamp out, here, let me go like this. I was thinking I would stamp out a few of these and a few of these candy canes 5 cents. And maybe use that with this tag. So put the little candy cane icon tag with this, and then the 5 cent one with this. So I've done the same on this. On this one, I used those same My Creative Time dies, but in smaller sizes so that it would fit the jar. And then I still need to do, you can see, I hope you guys can see, where there is white edges still showing. So I need to, again, take my Memento marker, and I like using the brush nib side, and just go around and try and darken up any place where there is white still showing. And that just makes it look more realistic. And it also adds a little bit of shadowing too, I think. So you can just go around, and you can also use a graphite pencil, like I said, to add additional shading, or any of your watercolored pencils. You can also use an R39 red marker to add a deeper red tone where you think there would be shadows. So that is what I do. Again, anywhere you see the white lines, you can just go in and try to disguise them with the pen. And if you're worried about the black pen and you're a little nervous, the other way that I often will do things, especially when I'm working with earth tones, is I'll just take some tea dye or even vintage photo distress ink, and I can even just go around the image with that too, and that will take away some of those white edges also, and kind of give it a more rustic look. So it really depends on the style that you're going for and what project you're working on. But oftentimes I I will do this with die cuts just to add more of a vintage kind of worn feel to them before I finish a project. But not everybody likes that. So not everybody likes that warm tone. So you can definitely use the black if that's your preference. Anyway, so I just thought I would show you that really quick. And that is my ideas, anyway, for these tags. And I'm going to kind of put these together, and then I'll come back on when I get ready to do the ties and stuff for these 2 tags, and I'll show you where I'm at. What I'm going to do right now is just take some scraps from my scrap cardstock, and I'm going to just stamp out these candy cane tags that I just showed you from this Lily of the Valley stamp set. So I'm going to grab both of these labels, the candy cane 5-cents one. Where is it? Okay. And we'll put these on a stamp block and just see what we can do with making some little tags to add to these. So maybe I'll leave the camera running for just a minute more. We'll put these on nice and straight. And then I always rub my thumbs over so that I get good ink adhesion when I'm getting ready to ink up a photopolymer stamp, especially if I'm not sure if I've used it in a while or if it's brand new especially. But you can do that. And then I'm just using some Memento Tuxedo Black ink, which is a wonderful ink anytime you're going to color an image. And it just is an ink that dries really quickly. So we'll just stamp out a few of these little tags. I'll do a couple extra. You can never have too many ready to go. All right. Let's see here. I don't think I can fit any more. So, I'm going to stamp one on the back here just to get the ink off my stamp. Okay. So, so then what you can do with these two is you can color in, and you could use a fine liner marker to do this, but you can add some color to these little tags too, so that they blend in with the bigger image that you're using on your big tag. So, and it might, I probably should get out my fine liner for this. It would work better, but I'm just going to go with it here. So you can get the idea. So if we take this and just cut this out really quick. These are so quick to cut out because they're small. And it's just 3 straight cuts and then a little cut around the outer edge. And it only takes a second to do. A couple seconds. Okay, so then I can just edge this with a little bit of the tea dye ink just to give it a warm look. And then I can add that there so that when I put this together, it'll have some. And I also think I need some background stamping or some embossing. So I'm toying with the idea of using an embossing folder with candy canes on this background panel. So I have to decide on that. And then maybe using this candy canes 5-cents image for this card. Or maybe the little candy cane. So we'll decide which one we think looks best. But you get the idea. So that's what I'm working on. And in case I don't have time to finish my entire Saturday video, I thought I would film a little bit today that I could share. Tonight, I mean. So, all right, I'll be back later with more, hopefully. Okay, I'm coming back on for one more minute. I went ahead and I embossed both of the panels that are going to be the tag fronts. And I'm going to show you, I embossed them with candy canes. I hope you can see that. I used my tea dye distress ink just to try to bring out the embossing slightly. Okay. And I'll show you, I'm using two different embossing folders. This one's called Candy Canes, and these are really old, you guys. This one's from Craft Concepts, and this one has candy canes with like little snow dots. And then the other one, which you'll be able to see better, this one was from Apple Blossom Designs in the UK, and I think I got this on Craft Stash before they went out of business. But Apple Blossom Designs is a wonderful company. And this is their Sweet Christmas embossing folder, and it has bows, snow, and candy canes. So I also use this one. For a while there weren't any candy cane embossing or press plates available, but there may be. I haven't searched the market for them lately because, again, I have two that I've had for many, many years. And like I said, I buy things and then I use them forever. So you could check, again, resale sites for these if you're looking for a candy cane embossing folder. But you could also see if any of the current companies have anything on the market. They might have either an impress plate or possibly an embossing folder that has candy canes. So you could check. So anyway, I really felt that these tags needed a little bit of texture besides the little the Copic dots that I sprayed on here with my markers. I wanted to give the background some texture. So adding that embossing and then very lightly using some tea dye ink to kind of give it an old world feel has added a lot to the backgrounds of these. So I was debating on doing some stamping, but I decided to do embossing instead. And I finished coloring in the little tags. So I'll be adding some sort of tie and then the little tags to this. So I'm going to kind of get that all together, and then I'll come back on and try to film that also. Okay. All right. I'll see what I'm going to do to make my little loop for my tag is I'm using this beautiful die from My Creative Time. What is the name of this one? Oh, here we go. So this is the Snowflake Belly Band. And she has a gingerbread belly band and a eyelet doily belly band, several different ones, but I love for wintertime this snowflake one. And it creates a die cut that looks like this. And then I will just curl this with my fingers to make a little loop. And then that is what I do I just put a little loop on here to create my hanger for the tag. And then I send my twine through the loop, I tie a knot and create a little hanger. So that's what I'm going to do for the hangers on these tags that I'm working on. Okay. All right. I'm trying to show more of my process for those of you that have been asking. Hector and several other people have said, could I show how I put a tag together? So let me get these put together and then I'll come back on and show you what I'm going to do for the actual twine ties that I'm going to add to these. Okay. All right. I'll be right back. Okay, you guys, I'm still working on the same set of tags and I'm coming back on to show you how I'm attaching my little tie holders. So I'm using, again, this die from My Creative Time that is the Snowflake Belly Band. And for the larger tag, I just used the belly band as it cuts out. I took my fingers and rounded the loop, and then I glued it to the back, and I glued it underneath the front of the panel here. And then what I'm going to do is add this panel over the top to hide where I've glued it. Okay, so that'll be the back of this one. And then because this tag is so much smaller, I actually cut the two sides off of the centerpiece of the band. And then using the centerpiece of the band, I glued them back onto the band. So the centerpiece is still here. Okay, it's running down the back and it reinforces. And then I cut the two sides off and I glued them down the center of that piece of cardstock. And now I'm just rounding this with my fingers, okay? And this is going to create the loop, which I'll glue underneath the front. And then I just glued this, but I didn't, there we go. It'll go underneath the back here, okay? And then it's going to go underneath the front right here, and I will glue that in place. And so this one creates a thinner belly band for a smaller tag. So it's the same die, so the same Snowflake Belly Band die used fully on this bigger tag, but then used in a different way on the smaller tag. So I just thought I would show you that because I do get a lot of questions about how I create these little ties. So this is what I do, and let me add some glue to this one, and then I'll show you what I'm going to do for twine. So I just put a little bit of glue in here inside, and then I'm going to add a little glue to the front, just a tad. And this Tombow Mono Multi Glue is a very strong, quick drying glue, so you definitely, it's a good glue to use for paper crafting. And then I'm just going to pop that down inside, and you have your little tie. And I think I'm going to cut this off just a little bit because I think it's a little bit too long. I'm actually going to cut one strip off and make it a little bit smaller so that it fits a little bit better with this tag. There we go. So there you have it. And that's nice and glued in place now. And I usually do hold things that I'm gluing. I do press and hold them until they're dry, okay? So I have the ties in place, and then I have to pick out how I want to tie through. So since this one is pink and red, I thought this twine, I get this at Annie's Paper Loft Boutique or Trendy Twine. You can go through either way. And you can buy this in these big rolls, or she also sells it on clothespins, which is wonderful. And then you can reuse the clothespins to wind your laces and trims around after you use up the twine. So if you buy it on the clothespin, when you're done, you can reuse the clothespins, which I really like because I keep a little basket of trims on my desk. So what I usually do is, people are always asking me, how do I make my twine bows and my twine ties? I pull off a large amount of twine for a bigger tag, and let's see, I'm going to tell you it's about 3 feet is what I pulled off, okay? And I take it and I double it, okay? And when I double it, and then I cut the end, and then I double it again, okay? So I put the 4 ends together now, I pull it tight, and then I cut the 2 ends down here again. And that gives me, that gives me 4 strands of twine that I'm dealing with. Okay, I hope you can see that. So there's 4 strands. And then to make my tie, I'm going to go through here. So I'll go through the little loop that I made and bring the ends up, okay? Now, if you like a longer tie, you might want to do 4 feet instead of 3 feet. Okay, it just depends on how long of a tie you want, okay? But what I do is I join it at the center here and I tie a knot. So all I'm doing is looping it around my finger and pulling it through. All right, and anytime you don't want a knot to settle up high, you just keep your finger in, or you can use any little pick or, you know, any thin, let's see, I'll do it with this today. So if you don't want it to close off until you get it lower, you can just pull it down to where you want it with a pick or your little, you know, picking tool even, and lower it to where you want it before you tighten it, okay? So anytime you stick any sort of device into your knot, you can maneuver your knot down to where you want. And when you're tying a bracelet, that's how you get your knots tied against a bead, for example. So I usually do that. I tie my little knot, and then I come up here to the top and I tie a closure knot, okay? And I usually leave this one loose in case the person who has the tag wants to untie it and tie the tag onto a package. So I don't usually tighten that one very much. I do tighten this one so that the actual tie doesn't fall off. And I apologize for my inky hands. So that's how I do this. And then if you want to add a bow, now I'm going to add 2 little tags here. Okay, so I have these 2 little tags that I'm going to attach right here. And I could attach these with a jump ring. I can use a garment pin, which is probably what I will do. I do keep a little, here, let me grab them. I do keep a little thing of garment pins in a mason jar. These mason jars are awesome for holding things. But I just buy the bronze color. I only carry 1 color on my desk. I don't buy multiple colors. I just carry bronze. And I just have them sitting on my desk. And So what you can do then, like this one needs a hole punched in it. Let's see if I have my hole punch handy. Do I have my micro hole punch? So I use a tiny, this is called a micro hole punch. Okay, it's a little tiny, punches very, very tiny holes. And I'm just going to punch a little hole in this tag. Okay, so very, very tiny hole. And then this one has a printed hole. So I can go into where that printed hole is and punch another hole in this one. Okay, and then I just take my garment pin, and sometimes I'll add a jingle bell. I think I do have some jingle bells handy, but let's see, which one do I want first? I think I want this one on top. So I'm going to put the longer tag on first, and then the shorter tag on top. And then if you want, you can even put a little bit of glue and arrange them the way you want them to show. But a lot of times I just leave them hanging like this so that they can have movement. And then you can put this through this knot, or even just through the twine itself, and just close the garment pin. Okay, and then those will hang down once you get it attached. Oops. All right. And if you, like I said, if you want, you can arrange them and use foam tape or something to hold them where you would like them to go. And then a lot of times what I'll do too is I'll take the same twine, and I've been asked about this too, about tying a bow. And again, I'll pull off about 3 feet of twine. And this is because I like to make them double-stranded or triple-stranded. And I'll pull off my 3 feet of twine. And you're going to take the end and then double it up. So put your 2 ends that you just cut off together, pull down till you get to the loop. You're going to cut the loop. So now you have 2 pieces of twine. You're going to put those 2 together. You've got 4 pieces at the top, and you have 2 loops at the bottom. You're going to cut the loops with your scissor, and you now have 4 pieces of twine, okay? And this is how I tie my twine bows. I just make a loop, I go around, and then I pull the loop through just like you're tying a bow. And then the key with straightening out your bows, for me anyway, this is what I do. I get it to the size that I think I want it. All right, so I want it to be fairly small because this is going on a tag. And I do want it to be nice and tight. So you judge, there's my word, judge it around, keeping the strands as even as you can until you have it the size that you think looks right on your tag, for example. And then to set the bow, you're going to take the loops in your hand. I hope I'm in frame. And you're just going to pull on the tails, okay? And that's going to help really set that knot in place, okay? So you pull on the tails, and that's going to straighten the tails so that they come down. And then you can trim off and make the bow the size that you want. Use your scissor. You can leave one end a little longer than the other end if you want. And just discard the rest. And you have your little bow. And let's see, in this case, let's see. My tags are not wanting to stay front. There we go. So then what I would do is just glue this in place right here. And that adds a nice decorative element to your tag. So that's one way you can do a larger tag like this. And if you don't want the ends to hold down, to go down as far, and you just want the bow up here, then just trim it a little bit more. You don't need to leave the tails as long as I did. And I think I'm going to like it better if I trim these up a little bit further. So, and I always wait to trim until you're sure you have the tag, how you want it, and the bow how you want it, so kind of put everything down, see what you think. And I might even just attach these like that. I don't know. And you can also make it so that these go behind if you want by, again, just arranging them and pulling. And you can set them so that they go kind of straight out too. So that's that tag. And I just need to glue this to the back. And then on this one, again, I glued the 2 pieces of that to the centerpiece to make my little loop. And this one probably doesn't need 4 strands. It's a smaller tag. And it also has blue in it, but I still kind of like the pink and red with it. I used to have some blue and red twine, but I think it's down in my basement. So let's see, maybe what I should do is just use a solid red thicker twine on this one and just do a simpler bow. So let's see, let's cut off about 1.5 feet because this is a smaller tag. And I'm just going to do 2 strands, okay? So 2 strands, I'm going to put this through the loop. And again, you want to wait for the loops to be dry and solid before you do this because you don't want them to come undone, okay? And then you're just going to pull it up so the 2 sides are even. So you've got your 2 loops. Everything's even at the top. Just even everything up. So you got your 4 strands evened up. And then you can hold on to those and just tie a knot. Okay, so you have your knot right. And then you can use your fingers to hold the knot to get it down to where you want it. Or like I said, you could use some sort of a brush or a tip. But I usually, a lot of times, just do it with my hands. And you're going to hold the knot and bring it down to where you want it. And I want it down right against this loop that I made. So there we have the twine tie on there. And I think actually that looks really cute. And I could just add the little tag that I made on here. Whoops. There's a little. So that would look cute with just that little tag, don't you think? So we could go like this and just punch this. And I can attach that with a garment pin, or the other thing that I'll use a lot of times is embroidery thread or some May Arts twine that's really thin like this. So here's a piece of May Arts twine, and I can just stick this through here. So I just have a little tie on the tag, and then you can run the tie through the opening here to add the tag on. So just slip this. Let's see if I can do it on camera here. I'm just going to slip the end of this through the opening like that. And we'll bring it up so that the tag is right where we want it. And this would be, you just tie a knot, and then if you want to add a jingle bell, you just thread the jingle bell through the twine before you finish tying it completely off. So just tie a knot like so. And then if you want to add a little jingle bell, let's see, do I have any? I have any small jingle bells handy. I think these are all pretty big, but let's see. Let's see. Let's grab one of the little shiny ones. So the nice thing about these bells is they have the opening, and you can just take the smaller twines. Will usually just thread through the top. Oh, and that's a bad end. You can always cut the end off if it won't thread through. All right, so there's the bell. So you just thread that on and tie it through. And then it's up to you if you want to tie this in a knot, or if you want, you can tie it in a bow and leave the little bow from the secondary twine on the tag. So a lot of times what I do is I tie a double knot and then I tie a bow. Oops. Oops. This twine is fraying a little bit. Let's see if I can do it. It's always hard to do things when you're on camera. Let's see if we can get it tight enough. Small bows are always harder because it's hard to get the opening tight enough when you make your loops and everything with your fingers. So, all right, so that's nice and tight. I'm going to tighten it down one last time. There we go. And then I just trim the ends with my scissor. There, and you have a cute little bow with the bell hanging from the little tag that says candy canes 5 cents. And if you want to, you can attach just a dot of glue so that that doesn't move around. It depends on if you like the movement or not. But let's see, I haven't glued this. I will usually use hot glue to glue these down. So I'll go out in the other room and turn on my glue gun and then just attach this in place. And of course, I'm going to glue this to the back of the tag to cover up this. Okay, so that's how those 2 tags are going to turn out with their little twine bows. And again, to set your bows, you just want to grab the tails, hold the loops in your hand tight, and just pull, and that will help set your bow into place. Okay, so I hope that helps. There were several people that were asking about how I do the twine bows, and I've shown it before on my channel over the years, but it's hard for me sometimes, even though I try to mark the videos with hashtags, it is hard to go back and find sometimes what you're looking for. So I just thought I would show it again for those of you that were kind of asking how I do it. Okay, so those are those 2 tags. I have a couple little things to glue down, but these are Dianna Marcum's stamps from the Recipe Stamp Club and her add-on sets too. And I'm going to hopefully finish all my Dianna Marcum projects and be able to share them before the weekend is over. But this at least gets you started with a couple candy cane tags. So thanks for watching all these little excerpts of me creating them. And if you have any questions at all, please leave them in the comments, and I will try and answer them. Okay? All right, everybody. Thank you. Bye. Hi, everyone. I'm back again. It's still Friday night, and I created this card, and I thought I would just explain a little bit about how I made this. This is using the adorable cupcake image from Dianna Marcum's Recipe Stamp Club, and it also uses the little heart stamp as well as the little flower stamps that are included in the stamp sets. And I'll show the stamp sets at the very beginning of this Saturday Morning Makes episode so you can see them again. But I wanted to make it look like it was a cupcake with some petit fours sitting around it. And this is a little birthday card that I created. So I did use the little rosebuds that she included in the stamp set, and I cut out the smallest one from the North Pole's Finest Sentiment, and that's the one that I added to the top of the cupcake right here. So you can see there's a little tiny rosebud berry. I guess it's a berry bud, if you will. Up at the top here. So that's from the North Pole's Finest stamp. That's where I cut that from. You could also cut it from this Candy Cane Wishes and Mistletoe Kisses. There's also small ones on here. So depending on the size you need, there's different sizes in the set that you can cut out. So I used a smaller one up top just to add a little dimension to the peppermint at the top of the cupcake and to sort of pick up on the ones that are on top of what I'm calling petit fours down here at the bottom of the cupcake. And petit fours, if you don't know what they are, like little iced tea cakes that they serve often with tea. And I wanted to put a teacup on here, but it just wasn't fitting correctly. I think if I had done the card this way, I could have probably done the cupcake, the petit fours, and a teacup. So I might try that next time. But I wanted to kind of show you what I used. I did use a die set that's retired from Impression Obsession dies. I'm trying to remember if this is still available at Frantic Stamper. You could definitely search it for it. It's called Quilted Frame. If you Google Quilted Frame from Impression Obsession die 933Z, there may be some stores that still have it, stores that stocked Impression Obsession products. But Impression Obsession is closed and their products are no longer available. And this was a die that I believe was designed by Anna White of Sweet Miss Daisy Designs. She has a wonderful store on Etsy where she sells all of her stamp images that she's creating, as well as beautiful paper pads and all sorts of fun things. So go take a look at her Etsy shop at Sweet Miss Daisy Designs. I loved the dies that she created for Impression Obsession. This is a frame die, so it's going to cut out the oval and it's going to cut out the frame. Anytime you have a frame and you want it to be a single piece, just use Scotch tape on the back to tape the two pieces together, and that'll keep it make it really easy to work with when you're putting it onto a card. So that's what I did here. And then I just wanted to mention too that the papers that I'm using are from Irala Shop, and I get most of my digital papers from Etsy. And Irala Shop has a file called Shabby Floral. and her Etsy shop address is right here. So, and I always have her linked in my drop-down menu because I do use a lot of her digitals in my paper crafting. And then inside this card, on the inside, I did add another one of the little petit fours with the little flower popped up. And I used, for the sentiments, I'm using also a digital from Irala Mija shop that's called Always Flashcards. And I cut out a birthday one and then one that says Make a Wish. And so you can see I used the birthday one on the front that says Happy Birthday to You. And then inside it says Wish and it says Make a Wish. So really cute little flashcards. And I thought this was a lot of fun to make. And the flashcards, Deck the Year is a wonderful hashtag. And I will link the information for Deck the Year down below. But this year they're allowing you to include cards. And they're also bringing back things like flashcards and various things that you can use to participate in Deck the Year. So I want to include this card for Deck the Year. And it has flashcards on it, and it is a card. So lots of fun. That is a wonderful hashtag. And I found it via Therese. And I think Don H. is another one that I saw do Deck the Year. So, and there's several of you that participate in that. It's a lot of fun. So I thought I would put this card for Deck the Year. But anyway, that's just a little more information on this card. And again, I'll be showing it at the beginning of this video with the stamps that I used. Okay? All right, thanks. Okay, you guys, I am now working with this adorable cream cheese mints Dianna Marcum Recipe Stamp Club. This was the recipe stamp for last month. The new release was just on the Stamp It Tuesday video this past week. And we're already to Saturday again. Hard to believe. It's Friday night while I'm filming this. And I did cut out and glue a second little berry bud to her hair so that there's some dimension here. Okay. And you could do the same thing with these little ones down here, but I just added glitter to everything. And so I'm just going to leave them like this. And I already showed you guys the papers that I was using. So I did decide to go with this green paper that has these adorable little pink emblems on it. It's almost like a tile print. And then I used this particular pink paper. It was between two different ones, and this one picks up on this pink that's in here perfectly. And it's also, if you can see it in the background, it's also a tile type print. And so I embossed this little piece with a heart embossing folder. Let me grab it so I can show it to you guys. It's one that I've had for a long time. And it's a Cuttlebug embossing folder. And it just has these little tiny hearts all over it. It's called Cross My Heart. And it was by Cricut and Cuttlebug back in the day. Let me see if it has a year on here. No. So, but this has been in my stash for many years. A long time. So I wish there was more information, but it's called Cross My Heart. And it's Cricut Cuttlebug. So that's what I used to do the embossing. And whenever I use this embossing folder, once I get my card done, I always take some glitter and I just highlight some of the popped up parts from the embossing. So that's what I'm going to do as I put this card together. So I just cut my panel to fit this card. And just so you know, this is a bigger than normal. This is not an A2 card. This is a 6 and a, what is it? 6.5? 6 1/4. Yeah. By 5, I think. No. 4 3/4 by 6 1/4. So it's a different card size. It's not an A2. And that's because Diana's images are bigger than, they're larger sized images for recipe stamp books. They're really sized more to make a recipe album. But they work great on larger size cards, and many of them, especially the add-on sets, have smaller sized images that are perfect for A2 cards. But I like to make a slightly bigger card when I'm using these bigger images so that you can still see the background papers and details that are being added to the card. So this card is going to just have this embossing right here, and then I was thinking I might add just this piece of lace. This was given to me as a gift from one of you that sent me Happy Mail, I believe. I wish I could remember who. And was it Vicky? I'm not sure. But anyway, I thought I would add a strip of the lace too and glue that next to the card embossing and then put the image down like this. So this is just so adorable. And then I'm going to have to restamp. I'll stamp the North Pole's Finest. I don't know. Do I want to add that? It's going to be tight, even with this bigger size card. I wish it was a little bit smaller. I could try reducing it on my copy machine, but I think maybe I just won't include that this time. And then I'm thinking this could really be a Valentine's Day card with the hearts. And it might be fun to make these and then bag them up in some little bags with hearts on them, and then include this card to someone for a little Valentine. So I purposely did pink, you know, and it could definitely be a galentine for one of your girlfriends. So that is this card, and I'm just trying to include footage on this episode of Saturday Morning Makes that shows more of the behind-the-scenes work that I'm doing on the various cards that I'm showcasing. And I will show the cards at the front of the video, so you'll have already seen them by the time you get to this point. Let me know in the comments if you enjoy seeing some of the behind-the-scenes work of my creating the cards. All right, I'll be back. Bye. Okay, everybody, and this is the last card I was working on. And I debated about this card for quite a while tonight. The only thing I have left to do is I want to add some glitter to the trees. So I'm looking for my glitter glue. Let's see if I can maybe use one of these. Here's some diamond stickles. So I was playing around. These trees are old dies from Tilda Magnolia. Tilda dies, very, very old. You can't, as far as I know, you can only get them on the secondhand market if you can find them. But I just wanted to make a scene. I love this bakery. Okay, so this is a bakery that says Mrs. Claus's Bakery. And then we have Mrs. Claus from the stamp set. And I just thought it would be really cute if she was out front of her bakery offering free gingerbread cookies. And so that's what I did. I went ahead and put the bakery kind of in the background, if you will, up and away from her, and then her down in front. And she's out in front of the bakery just handing out gingerbread cookies and inviting people into the bakery for hot cocoa. And I just think this is so cute. I wanted to fit both Mr. Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus on the card. And I tried a bigger card, but I just couldn't get it to work. And then I tried going back to an A2 size and putting the bakery up and away and her down in front. It covers the front door of the bakery, which is adorable with the little wreath. But I just thought it was a cute little scene. So that's where I ended up with this card. I put Santa on the inside and then the candy cane wishes and mistletoe kisses sentiment. And then I haven't decorated the back of this yet, but I just stickled up the white trees. I felt it needed something to sort of ground her, to show that she's out in front. And so I put the trees there, and I think that turned out pretty good for a little scene. And I don't know if you can tell, but there is an embossed background of snowflakes. So the white panel that's there is all embossed with snow, as if it were snowing. So I think this turned out really cute. But I did fiddle with it for a while, off and on all day. I was trying to find something that would work. So anyway, so I'm going to go and create my Saturday Morning Makes front part of this video now, and showcase all of the projects that I made today, or tonight, really. I started around, I think it was 7 o'clock tonight, and it's now 11. So I was able to get 3 cards made, plus the 2 little tags that I've shown in the video. So I want to thank you guys. Let me know if you like having the little snippets of tape, of video, where I'm showing the cards as I'm kind of pulling them together. Does that help you guys? Do you feel like it shows more of my process? So let me know what you think of this style video, and if you like this better. And I can maybe do this type of video instead of what I normally do. Anyway, that's it for this episode of Saturday Morning Makes. I want to wish you, and 2 crafters, 1 design, and all the hashtags. I want to just include all the hashtags. Everybody that's helping spread ideas for for crafting and creating. I hope you'll all join in and play along, make art. It gives you a vacation from the world. Whenever we create, it opens up a part of our souls that doesn't get to see the light of day if we don't do it. And I just hope you'll play along and make some art. All right, everybody, take good care. Thank you for supporting my channel here at Greenwood Girl Cards. My name is Jill Norwood. I am a creative designer for Dianna Marcum, for My Creative Time, and other companies as I guest design. So thank you guys for supporting me. I appreciate it, each and every one of you. All right, everybody have a wonderful weekend. I can't wait to see what you've been making. All right, bye now.